Hello Rajiv ji, Kamal here from Mera Sangeet.com and a warm welcome to you on our show Chat and Chat today.
Thank you, Kavalji. Pranam, how are you?
प्रणाम राजीव जी मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ आप कैसे हैं
Very, very good. Kamalji, if we have a couple of minutes, I would like to give a quick update to all our listeners as well as people who come to our website and who have our apps.
mm-hmm.
Just a quick update on the state of immigration reform.
That would be great.
Excellent. Let me start by saying that, as a lot of people might know, this is the
Mm-hmm.
biggest and the most comprehensive immigration reform in several decades in the United States.
Right.
What are they thinking? Well, the things that might affect people the most as individuals are there is likely to be a point-based system for
Mm-hmm.
entering the United States on green cards, which will be based upon skills and education.
Right.
People with PhDs are going to have a substantial advantage. People with American degrees are going to have a substantial advantage. People with degrees in science, technology, engineering, mathematics are going to have tremendous advantage for green cards.
Right.
They are going to probably do away with the brother or sister sponsoring brother and sister category.
Mm-hmm.
For businesses, there are some severe restrictions for hiring people on H1s and for L1s. So that's going to be the big problem for some of the Indian businesses and some of the consulting based companies, whether they are Indian or American.
Right.
So these are some of the things that are being contemplated. It's about a 900-page bill. It used to be
Uh-huh.
about 744. There had been some amendments. Now, let me just tell you where the bill stands today.
Okay.
As a lot of people would know, as in many Commonwealth countries, such as England as well as India, there are two houses
Mm-hmm.
in the parliament. In U.S. Parliament is called Congress. In
Okay.
Congress, there are two houses. The upper house, what we call in India, Rajya Sabha. In USA, it is called Senate, and the lower house
Right.
is called House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning, the Senate version of the immigration reform bill, it's
Mm-hmm.
called S as in Sam 744. S744 will be referred to the full Senate. It has passed the Judiciary Committee, who has done some amendments, and now it will be before the full Senate.
Okay.
That means it will be debated. People will make their voices known, and if any more amendments are needed, they'll be done. On the House side, uh,
Uh-huh.
last night's news was that House has not been able to come to a compromise. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so they might work off of the Senate version of the bill. So basically, there are going to be debates on both sides, House as well as Senate. Finally, some kind of an agreement would be made, and if it goes through, we'll have a new version of the immigration bill.
Right.
The big ticket item in this is the 11 million people who are illegal in the United States will
Right. Right.
get a path to green card and ultimately citizenship. A lot is being debated about the ultimate shape of things to come. So I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to give a quick rundown. Nothing is happening now, but in a few months, 2, 3, 4 months, we might have the final version and we might have a completely new immigration bill. We will, of course, keep you updated. I advise people to go to immigration.com, and there is on the very front page, there's a huge link to the reform page, Immigration Reform 2013. We try to keep that updated. And of course, in this program as well, when there are key developments, I'll keep you all updated.
That will be great. So, taking this up a little further, Rajivji, just as I was reading, it says that there was a last minute compromise which was agreed upon, wherein, it also says that the number of highly skilled workers admitted to the country would rise from 65,000 annually to about 110,000, and it would also go on to further increase to 180,000. That depends on the part of an unemployment level. Now, if you could just throw light on this also, Rajuji, because it also says, as I read this, that people who would need to, people would have to be admitted uh, in the United States before a certain date, that is December 31, 2011, applicants must have arrived in the United States?
Well, let me start with the H1 side. I want to make a couple of things clear. I have a very detailed video on it's a presentation on what the new law does to H1s, L1s, most of the employment based visas. So, by the way, I forgot to mention they might be dropping down the investment amounts from a million
Oh,
to maybe 250,000. So
that's
that
great.
opens a lot of doors for people.
Right.
And I suspect also very, very important, people who are waiting for a long time in employment based green card queues, 8 years, 9 years, they'll get cleared up very quickly. Okay. So there are some, there's a whole lot of things going on. And once the bill becomes a little bit more mature, I will do another video. If you go to immigration.com and on the front page, on the top, click on the 2013 reform page, on the left hand side, you have all my videos. You can scroll down and you can see the presentations that give you a much better idea. See, the problem is, even though the numbers have been increased, I believe the number with the Senator Hatch amendment this morning will be 115 instead of 110, but it's really
Mm-hmm.
not going to be used much, okay?
Okay.
Because what they've
Okay.
done is they have created so many roadblocks to getting H1 process. First of all, you have to advertise, and if you're an H1B dependent employer, it becomes a big problem. H1B dependent is somebody who's got 15% of their workforce on H1B, which is nothing. A lot of the high
Uh-huh.
tech companies have a much bigger amount, and especially if you're a consulting company, you may have as much as 50 60% people on, or even more, on H1s. So those people are going to pay a much higher amount
Mm-hmm.
if they want to sponsor people. They have to pay higher fees to USCIS. They have to pay higher salaries, much higher than what is being paid to the US workers. They have to advertise for 30 days
Okay.
and make sure there are no US workers. If your workforce becomes 50% H1, then you are no longer allowed to hire H1s. So
Oh.
basically, there are so many. This is not a good bill for companies that are in consulting business. Pretty much, it is the end of consulting business.
Mm-hmm.
The model
Mm-hmm.
that we have seen, where employees are being placed at client sites. This bill creates a complete ban against outplacement if you have 15% H1 people in your workforce. So it's very misconstrued. A lot of people are misunderstanding that as a good bill for consulting business. It is not.
Okay. So overall, Rajiv ji, are you happy with the bill? Overall, if we can say, just
I'm
besides the roadblocks and the
I'm very happy for the individuals and for some of the businesses, some of our tech clients, but I'm not happy for our consulting business clients who will suffer greatly. I'm also very happy for the people who are going to be who have been in USA illegally and will be able to finally get some sort of an inroad to becoming legal. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. Things that make us very unhappy, things that make us very happy.
So, Rajuji, anyways, now moving on. Today we have a few queries sent in from our listeners on merasangeet.com. The first one here is a mail from a listener who says, my question is, I am joining my old company as my H1 is not revoked yet and H1 transfer is still pending and with the current employer, which is done in regularly. Is there any hurdle to join my old company with old H1 which has still validity till November, but my H1 is not stamped with the old company's H1?
Can you read me the last two lines again? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, let me just go over it
No,
again.
I
It
got the
says,
rest. No, Kamalji,
okay,
don't have to read the whole thing, just the last two or three lines.
okay. It says, is there any hurdle to join my old company with old H1, which has still validity till November, but my
Okay,
H1 is not stamped with old company's H1?
I got it. Here is the problem. This issue is not very clear. The answer to this issue is very uncertain. If you had asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have said no problem. But
Mm-hmm.
there are a few things USCIS and Department of Labor have done. First of all, when you leave a company, the company is obliged to terminate your H1 or they must continue to pay you. Okay, so
Okay.
that renders the existence of the previous H1 doubtful. Second problem is are you out of status? Because if your second H1 transfer does not ultimately get approved, then all the time that you've worked for the second H1 holder, the employer could become unlawful, okay, or illegal.
All right.
So
Okay.
it's very doubtful that you can go back and join the old employer. Of course, if you go outside USA and come back on an H1 visa, you can definitely join them, I think. But this whole area is gray. It's not something I can tell you one way or the other. Kawalji, we were talking about a voicemail that you've received from one of our listeners who says, what is the difference between PIO and OCI cards?
Right.
I am not a lawyer on the Indian side. My membership in the Indian bar has long expired. I work only on US laws. But I can tell you from what I see, the information that I have, again, it's not legal advice, it's readily available information on the web. What I see
Mm-hmm.
is that the PIO card has been around much longer, and the OCI card is relatively new, but the OCI card gives you more privileges. It's also a lot more complicated, more stringent process, and it takes longer to get. Okay.
Okay.
The
Okay.
OCI card says that it's almost like dual citizenship, the OCI card. It requires
Mm-hmm.
that you must have been born in India on or after 1950, 26 January 1950. People before that are not eligible. Of course, this lady sounded pretty young, so she would qualify on that side. The foreign born children will not get OCI card unless at least one of the parents is eligible. Um, so basically, OCI card is better for you if you, and it's a lifelong benefit. If you do an OCI
Okay.
card, it's a lifelong benefit, whereas PIO card expires after a few years, I think a decade or 2 decades, something like that. So OCI, if you have time and you can go through it, PIO, if you don't have time and you don't mind, slightly lesser rights. Okay.
Okay.
So OCI
Mm-hmm.
is definitely a lot like citizenship.
Okay. So, Rajuji, these were the queries sent in from our listeners on merasangeet.com. And thank you so much for being able to spare your time and for being a part of our show today. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kamalji. I'll talk to you next week.
Definitely. Rajuji, have a good week ahead and a good day too.
You too, ma'am. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Rajuji. Thank you.